Move on to Arsenal because there's a situation there. Obviously, we know there's plenty of talk about this in terms of Aaron Ramsdale and what his future is now. It looks like, James, that he could be on his way out of Arsenal. Is that right?
Yeah, to a Premier League club as well in the form of Wolves. They're in talks with Arsenal around this signing. Now, Wolves are after a loan potentially with an option to buy. I think Arsenal, if they're to sanction Ramsdale leaving this transfer window, they'd like a permanent sale or a loan with an obligation to buy at the end of this season. Now, Ajax do remain interested in Ramsdale. They had a loan offer turned down by Arsenal earlier on this month, and Arsenal working on potential replacements if Ramsdale was to leave. It did feel like it was going to be impossible for two number ones to survive at Arsenal when they signed David Raya. They'll say Arsenal, they've been vindicated in that decision. They've increased that depth in the goalkeeper position. More clean sheets than anybody else by a country mile last season. They conceded fewer goals than everybody else in the Premier League as well. So they'll feel like they've done things right. But for Aaron Ramsdale, now is the time where he needs first team minutes. If he wants those first team minutes, Wolves could be an option for him in this window. Do
you still see Aaron Ramsdale as the number one? You know, he hasn't done any damage to his reputation, has he, by being any damage being that?
No, not at all, because I think from Arsenal's point of view, I mean, it's a luxury to have sort of two quality goalkeepers in competing, and Reyes seems to sort of be getting ahead at the minute. Aaron will probably feel quite frustrated that he's not playing, and he will want to go out and play. So looks like Wolves could be a good option for him to go and get regular minutes.
Yeah, I agree with that. Another potential outgoing, Eddie Nketiah, another great player, you'd have to say. So is he on his way?
Well, Nottingham Forest are pushing really hard to try and sign him in the final days of this transfer window. Now, the talks that have taken place between Forest and Arsenal have highlighted that there is a gap in valuation between where both clubs are. But the fact they remain in talks makes you feel like they may be able to come to a compromise, because we understand Arsenal value Nketiah at more than £30 million. They turned down an offer for around £17 million from Marseille earlier on in this transfer window. Crystal Palace also remain interested in Nketiah. It feels like he does need regular first-team football. He's 25 years of age. I know he's got the baby face, but he is getting to a stage now where he needs first-team minutes. He does have 3 years left in his contract, and for Nottingham Forest, they're looking for extra options in that forward area, though they are quite well stocked already with Chris Wood and Taiwo at 1 year.
OK, what about Mikel Merino? Is he on his way in?
Does sound very positive for Arsenal. He really wants to go. There's a lot of Real Sociedad players, we've seen it with Zubimendi in Liverpool, that they've got this attachment to their club, the Basque region. But Mikel Merino's made it clear to Arsenal that he does want to join. Talks are continuing, so we'll have another try Mikel Arteta this Friday. Gary Cotterill gave it a good go. Good luck to whoever it is this Friday. It might be Gary again. Send Gary back. Yeah, send Gaz back. He liked the lunch on there as well. So yeah, good luck to Gary. But no, and I mean, I think Arsenal are looking really strong at the moment.
I think, do you know, they are the blueprints. You know, if you look at how to run a club, you know, there was talk in Arteta's first year, he was on the way. You know, it was all going horribly wrong, and they stuck with him. Him and Edu have built this amazing team. What are their chances this time around? You know, they've been runners-up for the last 2 seasons. Are they going to do it this time around, 4.5 years into Arteta's tenure?
Yeah, I think they're going to be right up there challenging, definitely. And I agree, and I think that just goes to show that it's good club stability, especially as a coaching point of view. You want to be given time to work, to implement your ideas. And like you say, he didn't start off too great in terms of their league position, but over time he's turned them into a formidable force, and now they're going to be challenging again for the Premier League for sure.
You say challenging. I was putting you on the spot. Do you think they'll win it?
I don't know.
OK.
I think it'll be down between Arsenal and City again.
Yeah, OK.
My opinion.
Yeah, I say Arsenal. Right. The reason why I think you were saying that Arsenal might not be, maybe, I mean, I'm not judging you, but you're this window. Is there a player that you look at and you think, oh, that's the best bit of business so far? Who do you think's come in and thought, do you know what, they're going to light it up?
There's not any particular ones. I've noticed it's a few ones that I quite like. I like Smith Rowe to Fulham. I think that's a really good one. Didn't get much playing time with Arsenal. Yeah. He's someone I knew from when I was at Huddersfield as head of football. So I think he could real add value to Fulham as well.
Yeah. Anyone else?
Yeah, I think João Felix could add something to Chelsea. I think there's a lot of talk around sort of him coming in, where's he going to play and stuff. But I think when you've got someone of that quality, and he's experienced as well, playing in Champions League, that little bit more top class quality, I think he could be quite good.
All right, you've been brilliant company. Thank you so much.
Let's get to Arsenal, because Wolves are in talks with them over the signing of goalkeeper Aaron Ramsdale. They're exploring a loan with an option to buy. Arsenal want to do a permanent deal that comes with an obligation to buy. Very interesting this, isn't it? Because Jose Sarr is already in place as the number one at Wolves. Does this suggest perhaps a different direction that Gary O'Neill wants to go in terms of brand of football?
Yeah, perhaps. I think they've started the season going to a back four compared to a back five they played with last season. I think when you look at Wolves' business so far this summer, you know, the likes of Maximilian Kilman, Pedro Neto both leaving for a combined kind of sum of over £90 million. I think what the sporting director, Matt Hobbs, and Gary O'Neill have been very clear about is they've planned for this. You know, so for Maximilian Kilman, they had Yurs and Mosquera ready to come into the side. Pedro Neto leaving. They had Rodrigo Gomez they signed earlier in the window to play on that flank. And I think if Ramsdale was to happen, I'm sure they've been forward planning in that sense as well. So you would likely, I think, see a departure of either Darren Bentley or Jose Sarr. I think in terms of style of play, you know, just looking at simple statistics, you know, when you compare Ramsdale's last full season at Arsenal compared to Jose Sarr last season at Wolves, again, style of play can have a say in those stats, but Ramsdale's pass percentage is obviously much better, accuracy is much better, and I think when you watch Jose Sarr, he's a very good shot stopper, but I do think his distribution sometimes can be lacking, which, of course, that is a huge strength of Aaron Ramsdale. So I think if Wolves are to maybe transform their play a bit this season, I think it'd be a real statement signing for Gary O'Neill.
Do you think it'd be a good move for Ramsdale himself as well? I mean, you know, he was associated with Newcastle a few months ago. That never materialised. Nick Pope is still there. He's back now from injury. There was interest from Ajax, but there's not been much else. So, you know, Wolves or Ajax, you think Wolves would be a good move for him?
I think it'd be a brilliant move for him. It keeps him in the Premier League. What you have to remember is that out of all the markets that there is, the goalkeeper market's the worst. If you're a goalkeeper that's not playing, you've almost got to wait for someone to take a chance or another goalkeeper to move. Now, Wolves looking for a goalkeeper has probably come as a surprise to us today when that news broke this morning. But as Dan says, Gary O'Neill's quite an innovative manager. He's had to deal with a lot since he's been at Wolves, and he's dealt with everything really, really well. He's kind of like trying to change the style and change the mentality of the club, but he keeps losing players. Ramsdale's a leader as well. He'd be a big presence in that dressing room. He was a big presence in the England dressing room in the summer, despite not playing. He's a good character, and through no fault of his own, really, he's lost his place at Arsenal. Again, when Arsenal signed a goalkeeper, signed Raya, I don't think Arsenal fans were crying out for a new number one. So, although I think Raya is a step up, I think Ramsdale can count himself a little bit unfortunate, but he won't want another wasted season, because last season was a wasted season, really. He only got into the Arsenal team when they played Brentford because Raya couldn't play in those games because he was on loan. Those opportunities are gone now. For him to go to a club like Wolves, play every week, work under an excellent goalkeeping coach in Neil Cutler, I think that's as good a move as Aaron Ramsdale could hope for at the moment.
OK, let's get up to the other end of the pitch then. And Arsenal won over £30 million for Eddie Nketiah as talks continue with Nottingham Forest for the striker. Again, this is another interesting one, isn't it? Because Nottingham Forest have got two out-and-out strikers there. They've got Chris Wood, they've got Taiwo Awoniyi. So where does Nketiah fit into all of this? Does he come in as the number one?
Yeah, I mean, two very good forwards as well,
Yeah.
you know, who've shown it in the Premier League over the last 2 seasons. Chris Wood, very impressive last season, 14 goals. He really led the line because Taiwo Awoniyi had a groin injury for much of last season. So they have two very good forwards. I think Eddie Nketiah is just a different profile, isn't he? You know, very good in the box, but he can also stretch defences as well. And I think actually you put him in that front four with the likes of Morgan Gibbs-White, Callum Hudson-Odoi, who he knows at the England underage levels, and then Antia and Langa. You know, that is a very exciting front four, full of pace, full of speed, and actually it would cause most defences in the league a bit of an issue, wouldn't it?
Yeah. I think Nketiah, if he's going there, he's getting certain guarantees that he's going to play, and Forest aren't spending £30 million on someone to sit on the bench.
Yeah, fair enough. That makes sense. Just one more line, and Arsenal remain in talks with Real Sociedad over the signing of midfielder Mikel Merino. That seems like their next big target. It's thought the clubs are finalising the payment structure and the makeup of the performance-related add-ons. We will keep you posted on that one.
I wonder, in a way, if that was the perfect start for Arsenal, because it was sort of...
You know, Saka again, you know, was fantastic. But like you said, sometimes, you know, there's different ways to win football matches, but I think, of course, you know, performances are important, but, you know, the results are the most important thing, especially the first game of the season.
Yeah. Result, professional job, move on.
Exactly that. Clean sheet, Saliba, Gabriel, exactly like last season. Zinchenko played well. He's now got competition for places. You think of Calafiori coming in, Timber back fit. You look across that back line. Really, David Raya was excellent in goal, pulled off a great save from Strand Larsen. But Bukayo Saka was off the charts good, Mark. You know, this is a kid who can take players on. He's got quick feet. He's sharp. He gets kicked from pillar to post. He's durable. He's hard.
He played all the Euros and he played, and we just mentioned the Man City players not, but Arsenal put him straight back in.
But he's formed a relationship with Kai Havertz where, look, we've seen him do his defensive work, and, you know, it might look pretty basic, but then he's off, but he's quick feet. This is the one, I think, where he manipulates the ball double quick, and you can't get near him. You can only potentially foul him. As I said, he's durable. When he gets kicked, he never stays down. There was a tackle in the game. It wasn't a particularly bad one, and he had a little sort of...
You like the teasing cross.
I love this one because it's a lesson to any kids. It's like it's put in an area where he's more or less saying to Jose Sarr, come on, you think you can get this, but the cross is just too good. The goalkeeper in the end's in no man's land. Quite an easy finish from Havertz.
Yeah, but what really impressed me about Saka is he's so strong. Like, he knows that he's not the biggest, but the way he uses his body, you know, it's credit to him. He must do so much work in the gym and try and tick every box to get these performances. And when he gets into these positions here, it's quite interesting because normally he goes to the other corner, but it's so clever way. He knows there's bodies in the way. Goalkeeper can't really see it, and he just reverses it with pace in that corner there. It's a fantastic finish.
And presumably going forward for the rest of the season, goalkeepers see that and go, right. But a bit like the Kovacic goal. We would expect it normally, goalkeeper, to go to my right as he curls it in there, but we know he's got that one now. So the goalkeeper's a little bit unsure.
But you can tell when you watch. You can tell that he works on that. That's repetition every single day on the training pitch. You know, he comes inside, and you know, and he goes. Like I said before, you see him go to the other corner, but now he's actually reversing with pace as well. And to be honest, even if the goalkeeper can see, I think if you hit it with that sort of pace, you know, it's difficult to save.
He's missed 3 games in 3 years.
I'm telling you, he's hard as nails.
Yeah.
Honestly, there was a tackle in the game, and as I said, it wasn't a particularly bad one. And he had a limp, and he looked a little uncomfortable. And I said, give him a minute, it'll be fine. It's all he needed. You know, he's a guy that's got unbelievable quality, strong, durable, great attitude. He's a player. Doesn't matter, I think, who you support, you can't help but fall in love with Bukayo Saka because you can see the smile on his face, and you know that he loves playing the game. Yeah. He absolutely loves it.
Let's talk about somebody. This might be a bit emotional for you, but wherever he played, he was super Kevin Campbell. Whether he played for Arsenal, played with you, played at West Brom, played with Forest. You loved playing with him, didn't you?
I was at his funeral last week, and it was tough. The church was at capacity. It was a beautiful send-off. He's a man that is just a guy with a massive heart. Doesn't matter what room he'd walk into, we'd light up the place. And no surprise that Arsenal paid their respects. Goodison paid their respects as well.
And growing up in London, was Super Kev? I mean, you would have had heroes you would have looked up to, wouldn't you?
Of course, obviously everyone knows. I mean, I loved Wrighty.
Yeah.
And seeing those two, the celebrations and the dances, and it's quite funny actually because Kevin Campbell was one of the first footballers that I actually met, because my first Sunday league team, he actually at a cup final, he handed out the trophies. So you can imagine for an 8-year-old what that does. You know, you've seen like these heroes on TV, and then I just remember, you know, being so excited, and you see him, and he was just such a nice guy. And every time I've come across him, you know, the gentleman, and, you know, condolences to his family. It's a massive loss for the football world, for sure.
Absolutely. He really was a lovely man, Kevin.
Arsenal have suffered a new transfer blow, with Crystal Palace reportedly no longer in club-to-club talks to sign their striker Eddie Nketiah. It's no secret the Gunners are keen to get rid of Nketiah in the summer transfer window, and he has been linked to a number of teams in England and abroad. Palace, Nottingham Forest, Bournemouth, Everton and French side Marseille have all been mentioned as having varying degrees of interest in the 25-year-old. Some outlets claimed Bournemouth were considering Nketiah as a Dominic Solanke replacement before they swiftly signed Evanilson in a club record deal. After Bournemouth announced Evanilson, Nketiah was immediately linked to Forest, while other sources have recently reported Everton want him on loan. Arsenal would prefer an outright sale, but they appear to be running low on options at the moment, with Forest seeming to be the only possible destination. That's because Palace are no longer involved in any form of club-to-club talks for Nketiah, according to The Athletic, despite claims the Eagles still retain interest. To make matters worse for Arsenal, transfer expert Fabrizio Romano says Forest are strongly considering Santiago Jimenez as an alternative option to Nketiah. Forest will only end up signing one striker, and after their first bid for Nketiah was rejected, they will continue negotiations for both him and Jimenez. Should Forest decide to prioritize Jimenez, Arsenal could be left stuck with Nketiah, who has produced just 38 goals in 168 appearances for the Gunners. Nketiah has 3 years left on his Arsenal contract, and it is believed he wants to secure regular first-team football. He came through the club's famous Hale End Academy, but has never been able to truly cement his place in the Gunners' best 11. Arsenal and England goalkeeper Aaron Ramsdale appears set to join Wolverhampton Wanderers as their new first-choice goalkeeper after losing his spot to David Raya. Wolverhampton Wanderers got insight into Aaron Ramsdale's passion when they welcomed Arsenal to Molineux in 2022, and have now moved for the Gunners' goalkeeper. Ramsdale has been the subject of an offer from Gary O'Neill's side after dropping behind David Raya in the pecking order in North London. It would be an initial loan deal, with the option to make it permanent in the summer, the same arrangement which allowed Arsenal to sign Raya from Brentford. The Spaniard first joined Arsenal early in the 2022-23 season after Ramsdale began the campaign between the sticks. Ramsdale was first choice the previous year, though, and kept a clean sheet against Wolves in November 2022 as Mikel Arteta's side went into the World Cup break atop the table. Martin Odegaard scored both Arsenal goals in a 2-0 victory that day. However, Ramsdale gave teammate Alexander Zinchenko a piece of his mind as the London side looked to keep their advantage. Ramsdale's public behavior followed his animated reaction to a loss at Everton, picked up in the Amazon Prime All or Nothing documentary about Arsenal. Arteta's men lost late on at Goodison Park during a match in the 2021-22 season, a result which ended up denting their top 4 hopes. Arsenal responded to that Everton defeat by winning 4 on the spin, with Ramsdale conceding just once in that run. However, a late-season defeat at Tottenham ended up costing them 4th spot. Ramsdale's lack of minutes last season didn't stop him claiming a spot in England's Euro 2024 squad, though he was back up to Jordan Pickford in Germany. He was also on the bench on Saturday, as Arsenal beat Wolves at the Emirates Stadium to make a winning start to their season. Raya made a big save to deny Wolves forward Jørgen Strand Larsen, leaving Arteta impressed. Unbelievable. The manager said, "I think it was the first time they had any attempt. We didn't defend the box well, and then David makes an unbelievable save." Zinchenko started at left-back over the weekend, despite Jurrien Timber returning from injury and Riccardo Calafiori providing another option after arriving from Bologna. However, the manager insisted it was a game-by-game process for his team when it came to deciding the backline. You could see that Alex Zinchenko, especially in the first half, was really good, Arteta added. In the second half, we needed something else and we had the ability to change there. 5 Gunners named in PFA Team of the Season. David Raya, William Saliba, Gabriel, Declan Rice, and Martin Odegaard have all been selected for the 2023-24 PFA Premier League Team of the Year. The 5 Gunners were included in the annual Best 11, which was selected by their peers' votes based on their superb performances during the past 12 months, as we finished the season with 89 points and 28 victories. This is the second year in a row that William and Martin have featured in the PFA side, with David, Gabriel, and Declan all making their debuts. Only the 2003-04 team, which included 6 Gunners following our Invincibles campaign, has had more Arsenal representation. Raya enjoyed a standout debut season at the Emirates Stadium, keeping 16 clean sheets to pick up the Golden Glove Award. The Spaniard made a host of superb saves, and his distribution turned defense into attack at lightning speed. William Saliba and Gabriel continued their rock-solid centre-back pairing which formed in the 2022-23 campaign. The Frenchman was one of just 2 outfield players in the Premier League to play every single minute in 2023-24, popping up with 2 goals to boot. Brazilian Gabriel was once again in commanding form and was part of a defensive line that conceded just 29 Premier League goals, the lowest of any side in the division. Declan Rice could not have had a better season in the middle of the park. Our number 41 was a rock after joining from West Ham United, playing in all 38 league matches and scoring memorable goals against Manchester United and Luton Town. The England international also added assists to his game, setting up 9 goals across the season, including 5 directly from set pieces to help us to back-to-back second-place finishes. Our captain rounds off our inclusion after another sensational campaign. Named as our club player of the season, Odegaard created 10 assists in the league and netted 8 goals in the process. No player in the whole league created more chances than our skipper 88, and that form also saw him nominated for the PFA Players Player of the Year award. Champions Manchester City had 4 inclusions, including Golden Boot winner Erling Haaland, Phil Foden, Rodri, and Kyle Walker. Liverpool defender Virgil van Dijk makes his 4th appearance in the best starting 11, with Ollie Watkins rounding off the selection after his 19 goals and 13 assists helped Aston Villa qualify for the Champions League. Real Sociedad issue new transfer demand to Arsenal over Mikel Merino deal. Real Sociedad are demanding a fee in excess of 40 million for Mikel Merino, having rejected an initial offer from Arsenal. The Gunners are eager to bring in the Spain international this summer to bolster their options in midfield and have had an initial offer of 25 million rejected by the La Liga side. It was reported Real Sociedad were looking for a fee of around 35 million to make the deal happen, but Cadena Cope report they want more than 40 million. Merino is in the final year of his contract, and the expectation is still that he will join Arsenal this summer. The midfielder's representatives remain optimistic the deal will go through, but he has also not ruled out the possibility of remaining in Spain for another year and seeing out the remainder of his contract. Merino was left of the Real Sociedad squad for Sunday's 2-1 defeat to Real Vallecano, with head coach Imanol Alguacil confirming that decision was due to ongoing talks over the 28-year-old's future. Mikel Merino is not in the squad because I decided so, he told reporters on Saturday. He was ready to help the team. We will see if he will be with us next week or not. There are open negotiations. Real Sociedad president Jokane Parabe later warned his side would not be bullied into negotiating a fee that falls short of their valuation. Merino was clear that he didn't want to say he was renewing his contract and then leave. It wasn't a surprise to us, unfortunately. One of the teams we didn't want to show up showed up. We will talk to Arsenal and defend the interests of La Real. When we consider that the offer is good, we will say yes. We know what Merino's wishes are, so we decided that he should not be called up for the game against Rayo Vallecano on Sunday. While the Spanish side are holding firm, Cope report Merino's future is expected to be resolved in a matter of days.